And good morning. Welcome to the Mindfulness Broadcast. I'm going to bust into song for you this morning. So, yeah, I have a theme, and there were two songs that supported me as I thought about it. And so the first one is Steve Winwood, Roll With It, Baby. I'm going to put that in your head this morning. You can take it. And the other one is CCR, Rolling, Rolling, Rolling on a River. Okay. So there's a theme there, right? Going with it. In the coaching world, we call it kind of surfing the urge or riding the wave. We've got a lot of names for this idea and this concept. And it is when we are creating change, and if we look at that through a neuro plasticity standpoint, we are creating new brain pathways. That's what's happening in our brain, right? Our mind says, I want to do this new thing. I want to be this new way. I want to show up differently. I want to speak differently to myself or practice more self-compassion. What that translates into in our brain is literally new, delicate neurons coming together and sending a few neurotransmitters across the synapse and seeing if this is going to stick, right? So it's delicate. And meanwhile, we have this old brain pathway that is really used to doing what it's doing, thinking the way that it thinks. That's our autopilot. It's fast, it's efficient, it's habit. We don't have to think about it. That's exactly how our brain likes things. And so here we are wanting change. And we're going to use our practice this morning to kind of tap into that feeling of what it feels like as you're creating a new brain pathway, a new way to be responsive rather than reactive, or a new way of eating or thinking or whatever it is. And when that urge comes, to not support yourself in that new goal, that new value, that new belief system. And instead, the strong desire comes to just go back to what you were doing before, that old way of being. We all know that feeling. And what tends to happen in that, if we aren't intentional and mindful and present with it, is we just switch back. And maybe we're grabbing the drink or the other slice of cake or the remote or the phone or the whatever it is before we're even thinking about it, because we're just going back to autopilot because our brain wants that. Or we go into buffering because that's an uncomfortable place to be. It's a discomfort in your body. You want something and you're really trying not to do it. And so we can kind of push away from that. We can resist it. Our energy is that of denying, of trying to forget about it, right? And then we tend to buffer in order to do that. So we do something that immediately helps us feel better, but in the long run doesn't support us in our new brain pathway and us moving towards our goal. So that feeling is what we're calling the urge, what we want to surf, what we want to roll with, baby. That's where we want to stay, rather than denying, pushing it away. I don't feel this way. This isn't what I want. La, 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 la. We go, okay, so I'm really wanting something else right now. I'm feeling my urge and I want to surf that urge. The mindful process with that is to stay with it. What's it feel like in my body? What are the messages that are happening in my body? This is normal and natural. This is a new delicate brain pathway. And I have this old one that wants to be traveled, right? And just being with ourselves mindfully and present with that urge, staying with it, rolling down that river, right? So we're going to use that as we go into our practice this morning. So you can go ahead and close your eyes, or you can take a soft gaze. And just right away, kind of allow your body to be present and come into this moment, whatever that means for you. You might roll your shoulders back. You might bring your posture up into a more attentive posture for the practice. You might kind of move back and forth and feel your sits bones begin to balance evenly, or your feet, if you're standing, maybe rocking forward and backward, finding that space between the big toe and the tiny toe and the heel, finding the balance there. As you do this, find the crown of your head lifted just a bit and your chin tucked just a bit, allowing just a really open pathway for your air to flow from your nose to your belly and back out your lips. Bringing your attention now to that process, feeling your breath enter through the nostrils, bringing it down the throat to the chest and the belly as it expands, and then slowly reversing that process, feeling your belly collapse, your chest collapse, and the exhale through your lips. As you continue this process, you can either deepen your breath or just simply note your normal breath as you breathe in and out. Focusing your attention there as your mind wanders, gets distracted. There's no real active work to do except noting it. You might just say thinking, and then bringing your attention back to your breath. And then allow your mind to just explore your own growth right now. Something that you may be focused on, considering, already working with, a goal that you have, a change in your thought, behavior. Maybe anything from just finding mindful opportunities throughout the day, starting a full-on wellness exercise program, anything. Where are you growing or desiring growth? And as you land on that, begin to think about what behaviors or thoughts need to come into your attention. What needs to change? And what does that change to? Different internal dialogue, different relationship with your calendar, prioritizing yourself, setting boundaries. What is the work to be done to support that growth? An area that you would like to bring into focus. And see if you can state that in any succinct statement. For example, I need to set boundaries around my time. Or I need to be more aware of how many vegetables I eat per day. I want to take 3 breaths while I hug my child. Can you succinctly state that new action, that new thought. And then see if you can visualize or bring yourself into that experience, you doing that thing. And if none of this is resonating with you, if you find that you're having trouble visualizing, just find your breath and listen. So as you imagine you doing that thing, consider that urge. Consider that wave that we want to surf or roll with or be with. That urge to grab the chips instead of the bell pepper. That urge to just do a quick hug and get back to what you were doing rather than that extended mindful hug. Maybe it's taking the walk after dinner rather than settling into TV or internet right away. Consider that moment of choice, and what that urge or that wave feels like for you. And get curious about it. Normalize it. Of course, we want to go back to the old brain pathway. Of course, this urge is here. How do I want to be in this moment? How do I support myself right now? What is one action I can take to slow down this choice? And then consider that some sweet soul, somebody who loves you, perhaps they're living, perhaps they're not, is there to say some wise, kind support to you. What do they say, or what do they do? What do they remind you of in that moment? See if you can capture that message. And as we begin to close out this practice, those of you who are in this and can visualize this, imagine yourself then moving forward towards that new belief, towards that new practice. Reminding yourself that the whole process is part of it, that an urge is not failure. Wanting to go back to what we've always done is by design in our brain. Giving yourself that compassion and that empathy. Change can be hard. And find your breath again in this moment. Noticing if there's anything from that practice that you want to take with you. And then slowly opening your eyes and coming back together. Thank you. Julia put in the chat, slow your roll. I like that. Slow your roll. Be well, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you register for next week's masterclass. It is just once a month. If you miss it, we'll catch you in August. All right. Be well and see you next Friday for the broadcast. Bye.